Wow, guys, wow. I'll tell you that, well, first let's get this kind of mellowed out here a little bit. Because I'll tell you that today has sucked balls. All of us, for all of us here, um, you know, I fell pretty hard right now. Mario got a lap full of coals, and Austin has been stuck in traffic for 2 days. Austin, how in the hell are you?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, Okinawan traffic, not the greatest.
Mario, is your lap okay?
Don't even ask.
Is your
You
lap
don't
okay,
have to
Mario?
ask. My lap is fine.
Well, I'm glad your lap is okay.
Dude, that
Now that
shit
I know that
fucking
my
hurt.
sound is okay, we're good to go. I'm not having any technical difficulties right now, which I'm extremely happy about.
Knock on
So, let me get rid of this whole sound machine that I have sitting next to me that is sending me all these beautiful notifications while I'm on stream, and then we can get started. Austin, you kind of popped up around in the groups a while back.
yeah.
I didn't know who in the hell you were. I was like, yo, this guy's kind of cool, but he's asking some like in-depth questions, so I want to know, a little bit about, I kind of know a little bit about who you are, but tell everyone how you ended up in Japan as a white boy, kind of like me.
All right. Uh, I'm gonna do a little bit of advertising here. I was part of the world's greatest fighting force, the United States Marine Corps. I was serving the Marine Corps for 8 years. It's kind of different. First place I was California, then I went to Yuma, Arizona, and then I ended up out here in Okinawa, Japan. And I mean, at the end of the day, kind of felt like there was something more I could be doing than just the Marine Corps. Don't get me wrong, I love my time in. I had a blast. Many deployments, met many great people along the way, much of whom I'm still, pretty close, pretty good friends with. But I just felt I needed to be doing something else with my life. So when I got out, I decided, I really love Japan, and I wanted to stay here. I wanted to be able to call this place my home. Fell in love with the culture, the language, the food, everything, and just ended up staying here and living my best life.
That's all you can do. Live your best life, man.
You know, uh, I found it interesting. We seen the different packages of Trifecta, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's fake!" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Slow the roll."
I think that was my really big introduction to the group. I had been in the group for a couple months before that, and then seeing all these new flavors and all these new brands and stuff, just things I didn't have access to before. And I managed to find Trifecta out here. It came in some packaging that was a little questionable for today's day and age. So I posted it in the group, and yeah, everybody was like, "No, it's fake, it's fake." And then we finally got Trifecta themselves to answer the question. Say, "No, we still have a distributor out there in Japan that gets the old packaging." So,
Yep.
and let me tell
That's
you, that was my first time trying Trifecta, and it was amazing.
well, I'll tell you that sometimes as a community, we jump to silly conclusions. I want to say what's up to Derek Moses and Jig watching over on Twitch. Hello, guys. We're going to bring hookah around the world to you guys. Um, I didn't even introduce kind of what we are doing here. I just jumped right in. But it just feels natural because I've had you on hangs a couple times. You've been on hangs. You've jumped in there. We've talked. We've talked about all kinds of different things and things around the world. And it just goes to show, and I've had these conversations with many people, like it's so different there that people don't even realize. If you've seen Austin's other background we got to see earlier, he had alcohol inside of his hookah lounge.
Yep. Here, let me flip the camera over for you. Yep.
Which in
Oh, always.
a lot of states here in the U.S. you can't even do that. You know,
Yep.
it's
I
crazy.
know. Yeah, it was so weird for me. Right as I was getting out of the Marine Corps, I had already been at this lounge for quite some time and doing hookah stuff over here. And I like a beer. I like a drink with my hookah if I'm smoking it at night, whatever, just casual conversation, right?
Mhm.
And I get out of the Marine Corps, I have to go up there to Camp Pendleton, California. So one weekend I'm off. We go out there to Art Hookah Lounge in San Diego. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a Corona. I'm going to get some hookah. Tell me, well, okay, if you want a beer, you have to drink the beer inside. If you want hookah, you have to smoke the hookah outside. And to me, that was just a crazy concept.
Right.
I was like, what?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
I
So
It's California. We'll let that one slide.
so it'll go
appreciate
to
it.
show like we're gonna talk about everything in this hookah around the world. Anything from laws. I know that you really wanted to talk about laws and the differences of kind of what's going on there, Austin. Can you tell me like the main difference in what you're seeing? Like you've tuned into some of our broadcasts and you kind of understand the generality of what's kind of happening here. But
Yeah.
what's going on there?
So let me, before we start that, let me tell you guys, if you haven't donated to this hookah flavor ban situation we got going on in the United States, make sure it's $10. It's you go to Starbucks, you spend $7 on a drink. What's three more, right? Help those guys out over there in the United States. A lot of the time when I order shisha for my own personal use, I do order it from the United States, and I would hate to see a lot of these things go away. So, just wanted to do a quick little plug for you there, Jeremy.
So getting back to what you just said real quick. I paid $9. $9 for a coffee.
Yeah, right. What's $10 a month? I mean, you don't got to do it every month, you know what I'm saying? But what's $10 out of your pocket, So, I guess let's talk about tobacco, because tobacco is a little. It's not new to Japan, but loose leaf tobacco is kind of a new concept, as in there's not a whole lot of people that still smoke loose leaf tobacco. And I say loose leaf, not just pipe tobacco, but
Roll your own.
shisha, yeah, all kinds of things, right? So it's still a foreign concept to a lot of them. I say them meaning the Japanese population in general. But so for me, if I order a kilo of tobacco to Japan from wherever it might come from, not only am I paying the price of the tobacco, the price of shipping it to Japan, but then when it gets to customs, I'm spending currently right now the rate anyway, as of October 2020, $148.62 per kilo. So as a lounge owner, you can see where that kind of gets a little expensive for me, right?
Oh yeah.
But I say that because there's cigarettes, there's cigars, there's all kinds of things here in Japan. But like I said, this loose leaf, shisha tobacco, whatever it may be, is still a rather foreign concept. And to them, I think they see it very similar to how places in California are right now. Well, it's flavored tobacco. It's going to promote children or young teens smoking, when in reality, that's not really the case.
So they just make it so expensive that it negates.
Yeah, to try and keep you from doing it. But, at the end of the day, us hookah enthusiasts are going to prevail. I do gotta give a shout out to my Australian brothers. It's a little crazy over there. It's about 1,500 Australian dollars per kilo. So I got it a little easy. But as far as laws go here, like we were talking about earlier, I watched your guys' live stream when you brought all the people on from talking about the flavor bands and everything. Got George on there and everybody, Bobby. Really great. I was in here actually painting this back wall while I was listening to y'all. Just turned it up on the sound system and was listening to it. Donated immediately afterwards. We'll continue to donate in the future. I feel for you. But for us, like we were talking about, we're allowed to smoke and drink or smoke and eat at the same time at the same establishment. Right. Where I know with a lot of places, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you can't serve water, you can't serve tea, and whatever." When you're smoking, it's just a foreign concept to me. I know that I'm in Japan and I am American, but at the same time, to me, that's really weird. That's strange, and it kind of seems unfair. Who doesn't want to drink a coffee or have a cup of tea while they're smoking hookah?
Well, not only that, right, but as a hookah enthusiast, we know that we should stay hydrated while we smoke.
Sure.
I mean,
100%. You're gonna take
hold on,
a couple minutes.
Let the stream catch up for a second. It went blurry.
Yeah.
There we go.
But yeah, as I was saying, we're allowed to do all that, and as far as alcohol is concerned, I can take a beer out onto the street and be having a conversation with my buddies and drinking a beer, and it's nothing's wrong with it. So I think in those terms, pairing alcohol with tobacco or whatever the case may be, food, alcohol, it's not something that's frowned upon here. As a matter of fact, it's I recommend that if you're not drinking alcohol, even if you are drinking alcohol, you should definitely have a bottle of water. We have water in the fridge. Water's free all day long over here. I don't charge anything. If you want a bottle of water, I give people that warning before they come in. Hey, if this is your first time, we'll start you easy. We'll just make sure you stay hydrated. Make sure you're eating something. We have snacks for sale, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, as far as that law is concerned, we got a pretty firm grasp on that.
You say we, and I know that I know this, but to introduce you to even further, I think that people need to take this into context. You're not operating one lounge; you're operating two lounges. That is a 2-hour plane ride. Yeah. So it's a very interesting concept in the days of COVID.
100%. Yeah, and I actually really started making a lot of changes during COVID, and that's all the downtime of things being forcibly being closed. I think it was a great time to do that. But yeah, a little backstory. I'm the owner of Prism Hookah Lounge in Osaka. Now, I don't know when international travel will ever be available again. Who knows? This COVID situation. But you ever find yourself in Osaka, Japan, and you want to smoke some hookah, find me. Find Prism, PRISM. Well, actually, we haven't really put anything up on social media yet, but it will be up there. And then co-owner of Players Hookah Lounge here in Okinawa, Japan. This is just actually a recent development. This was my very first job outside of the Marine Corps. After I got out, I was a bartender and I don't know, what do you call the hookah guys? A hookah tender? I don't know. We just made hookah over here, and I because of COVID, things weren't really working out for me too well over here. So I moved to Osaka, opened up my own lounge, and then the owner of this place called me up and is like, "Hey man, I need you back. I need some help. I don't know hookah like hookah. Do you mind coming to help me out?" Not going to get into specific details, but willing to pay for my flight and fly my family out here and pay me for my time. And then the conversation came up. He's like, "Hey, what do you think about going 50-50 on this lounge?" And I was like, I need a few more details, but at the end of the day, I ended up signing a contract, ended up becoming half owner of this place as well. So
Yeah, I think, hookah needs a space to be successful in. And, if you just want to drink, just go have your drinks at a bar, just a plain bar.
yeah,
If you want to go just have hookah, go have just hookah, or go have hookah that has a bar in it. You don't have to drink, nobody's twisting your arm.
yep.
Both are, here in the U.S., regulated in the same way. If you're 21 or older, you know, you should be able to um, enjoy that hobby. Now, if they're going to ban flavors, in my opinion, look at how many vodka flavors they have. Whipped cream. They have a Skittles one, okay?
I got about 12 different flavors of vodka on the bar back there. So yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like, let people enjoy their hobby. Tell the dumb kids that are getting into dumb shit not to do dumb shit and spank their ass like they used to do in the old days. And be done with it. Anyway, enough of my rant. Austin, I wanted to ask you, like, what do you guys see out there as like normal brands? And when I say normal brands, like if you're gonna go to a hookah spot and you want to take like some tobacco back to your place, is that a thing there, or is the lounge culture more than the home culture, or how is it all working out there for you there, and that brands wise as well?
So my lounge in Osaka is. I'll talk about my lounge in Osaka a little later, but let's talk about the lounge I'm currently at right here. So, not just this lounge, but lounges around us. All right. So if you don't know, Okinawa's got about, I'm not even going to throw a number out there because somebody's going to be in the comments. Oh, you're wrong. Actually, it's this many. But there's thousands and thousands of Americans here, active duty military, spouses of active duty military, contractors, et cetera, et cetera. So at this lounge, we try to appeal to the American way of doing business and smoking hookah. But there are certainly lounges where it's definitely got a more Japanese feel, whether that's the surrounding the lounge or how they actually do the hookah. So we have and don't get me wrong, I don't know the whole backstory to it, so I'm not going to claim that we started it here in Japan, but we have a way of doing hookah that we call Japanese style out here. It's where we'll build the shisha up in an egi bowl. For those of you who don't know what egi is, a Turkish or Egyptian style bowl. Yeah,
right here.
Got it right there. Yeah,
this one did not jump off the hookah.
Yeah. So we'll build up in kind of a pyramid or a cone, if you will. And then we'll place the coals on the center, not the center, the outside on foil. And we get very little smoke output, but long sessions. And that's really popular in mainland Japan, as well as some of the other non-American style lounges here in Okinawa. But in terms of, let's say you're a hookah enthusiast, you just want to smoke some hookah at home. We personally do not sell tobacco for the time being. We will in the future. Just right now, we're just still trying to get ourselves situated at the lounge before we have enough stock to sell to people. But there are some lounges that you want to buy a 50-gram package of Alfaker, whatever the case may be, whatever brand, and we'll talk about brands here a little later. The Japanese people might not have it on display. We sell tobacco, but it never hurts to ask. If you want to go buy whatever, more often than not, the option to do that is available to you. Yes.
Okay. Just going through the chat real quick on Twitch. Sanjay T Plays says,
Good buddy of mine.
Buddy of yours?
Yeah.
Well, hey, I appreciate you telling people about it. That way, like the more the merrier. The more people that we can have watching, the more that they can get like introduced to other cultures, other the other ways people smoke in other countries as well. And like you said, the whole entire thing with the way that. All right, I'm gonna take over. Jeremy had a dip for a second. So pretty much, what's going on right now in Japan, and how you said that the way that you pack tobacco, and how you do it in the eggy bowl and everything, you put the coals on the outside, very little smoke out for the long sessions. Here, if you think about it, like most people are like, I want big clouds, I want to have this, I want to be able to like just an hour and a half, and then a new bowl.
Yeah.
So compared to the way that we smoke in, like, I mean, throughout the lounges in the U.S., what would you say that as far as the duration of time for that bowl would last?
So are we talking about as I talked about the Japanese style, or
Japanese style?
Well, I would say you could probably get 2 hours. Obviously, you got cold changes in between. 2 hours of straight flavor. Again, like I said, the cloud output isn't very high. It'll probably look a little something like this. That's probably what you're going to get.
Okay.
But the flavor is there, and you would get probably about 2 hours before, they either ask you if you would like another bowl, or before you start to taste that burn charred flavor, for sure.
Yeah, because that's why, I mean, now it's extremely different out here.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, specifically, whenever I go, if I see that, like, if I take a hit of a hookah and there's like really no smoke, I'm just like, okay, well, the bowl's done.
Yeah.
That's what I'm accustomed to. I usually do I'll probably go maybe 2 rounds depending on what I have. Like right now, I have 3 coals in a Cloud Lotus with the lid on. I usually smoke 4, but with this one, I'll do 3 coals and then do a second round. That way, everything is like completely charred. Everything is like the flavor's gone. So how many coal changes would you say that you do in that amount of time on the Japanese style pack?
And we'll talk about. I'm thinking brands in my head right now. We'll get on brands a little later, but at the end of the day, it definitely depends on the brand of coals you're using.
Okay.
Hookah Enthusiast, we know some coal. Not all coals are created equal, right?
Yeah.
So I would say about 2 or 3 coal changes in that 2 hour period. So you got that first round of coals. They'll throw on 3 to 4, depending on the size, depending on the brand. And then you'll get about two coals per change. So they'll throw on 2 new ones and use kind of I call it the little buds or the cherries of the old coals. Yeah.
Do you see? Okay, so they got the Japanese style, and I know in a lot of European countries, at least in the last maybe 3 years, 4 years ish, there's been a huge emergence of the chimney. Is that the case there in Japan as well? Are people starting to use the chimney out there?
No, most Japanese lounges you'll find just foil and coals.
Okay.
And a lot of the time they'll use the kind of the cruddy Egyptian bowls that you get with your hookah.
Okay.
And that's definitely something I want to talk on a little later, is when we get into the pipes and whatnot, and accessories.
So when you're talking brands that, your traditional non-emerging market hookah lounge, what do you see in those types of lounges? I know that you mentioned Alfaker, but,
we definitely see Alfaker everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. And do you see any other brands that we don't typically see? Are there any brands unique to your market?
So there's actually been some brands that are kind of on the rise right now, but we'll talk about brands that we see almost all the time. We'll get Adalia, we'll get Alfaker, we'll get a lot of the OG brands, a lot of Starbuzz, a lot of Fumari, just your OG corner store brands that you can get at any corner store in America.
Nakla, Mazaya.
I haven't seen Nakla or Mazaya anywhere out here, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what do you see in a lounge like yours? I know that you said tobacco is very expensive to import. Are you guys importing different stuff for your customers, or are you offering a better atmosphere and bowl to your customers?
For my lounge, we can't really compare ourselves to the rest of the Japanese market. And the reason I say that is, like I said, we appeal to the American customer. We like the big clouds, full of flavor, good product or good quality products, and that goes with the tobacco. So currently, we stock Alfaker, Fumari, Starbuzz, Awaha, and then we have our more advanced brands, Tangiers, Trifecta, Azure, even a little bit of Eternal Smoke.
Okay.
So yeah, as far as Dark Leaf though, like I was saying earlier, hookah's a rather new concept to not just the Japanese, but a lot of these young American Marines, Airmen, Navy guys. So to them, when they walk in, there's not a single weekend where I don't get a customer that it's their first time ever smoking hookah, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I try to stray away from Dark Leaf. Right now we have Azure Black Line, we have Trifecta Dark Leaf, and then obviously we have Tangiers, right? But when it comes to new smokers, I don't want to, and I don't want them to get punched in the face by that kick right off the bat. So I definitely recommend something a little smaller or a little softer for them. But in my honest opinion, I do think that Dark Leaf will not ever see major play in the Japanese market ever. In my honest opinion, just based off the way the Japanese smoke hookah compared to the rest of the world, yeah, I don't think Dark Leaf will ever really make it very big out here.
No doubt. Now I see this, elsewhere in the market. I know that you said a lighter smoke, and I tend that to talking with a lot of the Russian guys, and they say we make our hookahs soft, medium, or hard, or extra hard. Or if you want to get, brave, you can go like Kazan grenade pack style. So
Grenade pack.
it's interesting to say that you kind of like gauge that as well. And I think that a lot of lounges out here in the U.S. do a very bad job at that, right? You got lounges that'll be like, okay, hookah, 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 this is the best. But we don't pay enough attention in the hookah industry, in my opinion, to what it is the experience. This may be their first experience. It may be their 1,000th experience. So
Yep.
a lot of times when people walk in, they have a pre notion of what they want to get out of that experience. And I was very successful in turning a lounge here around in St. Louis prior to COVID kind of forcing it to close. But that's how we did it. We introduced some new brands because even Alfaker is harsh for some people. So bring in like the Eternal Smoke and Red Lips and things like that. That is a lot softer and a lot more palate friendly for people than, let's say, Double Apple from Alfaker.
Yeah.
I'm just going through the chat on Twitch as well. So right now, Derek Moses on there. I won't even go out to a lounge in Philly. So me being from Scranton, Pennsylvania, he's in Philly. Just a quick hour-and-a-half drive through heading towards New York, or heading south a little bit. When I went back to visit in 2019, there wasn't any kind of lounges in where I was that was worth visiting. The reason why, I mean, there are certain lounges out in Scranton that have hookah, but they have like the KM, or like not even really KMs. They have like just cheap, really really cheap quality hookahs, to where it's like, just looking at it, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna have a good session. I'm not really gonna waste my money going there, knowing that I might not fully enjoy the experience. So the reason why I bring that up, what kind of hookahs do you use in both your lounges? Like, is one different from the other? Can you only import a certain few? But which ones do you currently use at those lounges right now? Awesome.
So in my lounge in Osaka, we use the Alpha Model X, and we actually have a few Kappas as well.
Okay.
It's just a pipe that I fell in love with myself. I love. It's easy for the staff to break apart. It's easy to clean. It's easy to maintain. And at the end of the day, if if you take care of a pipe like that, I know we had a little bit of an incident with an alpha earlier today, but if you take care of a pipe like that, I think it could literally last you a lifetime. And it's certainly better than some of the pipes that are out here in Japan. Now, that being said, beforehand, matter of fact, give me 1 second. I will grab something. Just go behind the bar real quick.
I almost know what he's gonna grab, but when
Yeah.
They are not Kalima Moon. They are not KMs, but this is what a lot of people got the rinky dink Chinese made. And let me put a little disclaimer when I say Chinese made. I know there are great quality products made in China. All right. I'm not attacking the Chinese market. I'm talking about cruddy pipes or cruddy things that come from China. Things that are made by the lowest bidder, or purchased by the lowest bidder, I should say, for cheap. But like I said, you'll find a lot of these pipes. And this lounge that I'm currently at, we are still using these until our alphas come in here as well. So we have, from my understanding, we have about 2 weeks until the alphas arrive here. So for the time being, we are using these cruddy pipes. And that's just kind of the way the Japanese market is as far as hookah goes. You'll find a lot of acrylic hookahs, with the fancy LEDs and everything that you can go and get at your corner store in America, right? We get a lot of those. AliExpress, Wish, Alibaba, things that you can find on there are usually what people out here use. Okay. Now, that does not mean that there aren't lounges that do stock quality products, because there most certainly are. It's just, like I said, hookah is a pretty new concept to the Japanese people, so they don't know what they don't know.
Well,
you didn't know that you had a crappy pipe until you had a good pipe,
Yep. I feel like, our market is the same in some ways. Like, you seen Bob Gugliesco last night. He posted some pictures of a pipe in Washington, and they had that fucking Amira pipe that had everything like melting down on the inside of the glass. I mean, there has to be some type of standard, and I know that these are some good pipes for maybe people to try the hobby. Like, you shouldn't go out and be like, oh, I'm going to get into motorcycles and go out and buy a $60,000 cruiser or sport bike. You're going to get something smaller. I get that. And I get that you're getting into the hobby. Mario, shut up.
My bad.
But, I think I find it interesting that I feel like our industry, the 90th percentile is still infantile in some ways. It's like, okay, all we're going to serve is Alfaker. That's all we're going to serve because that's the best. It's always been the best. We're not going to be anything but the best, and we're going to serve Alfaker because it's the best. And I get tired of that sentiment, and even though I love Alfaker, and I still smoke Alfaker to this day, as an enthusiast, I need some variety, and
100%.
We started talking about tobacco and hookahs, and the difference is it seems like, everywhere around the world that I've seen so far, a lot of Germans smoke with chimneys, a lot of Russian guys use the cloud, and the cloud is starting to pick back up here in the U.S. Are you guys seeing any resurgence of that as well, like in the enthusiast airways, or is there any transfer of that?
I think HMVs in general, not just the Cloud Lotus, but HMV in general are definitely becoming more or increasingly popular. Now, is it easy to find a real one? No, you're definitely going to get your Chinese knockoffs, your cruddy Chinese knockoffs. But yeah, they're most certainly out here, and they're definitely making a bigger appearance as in the past year or two. Right now, I'm using a Cloud Lotus, my own personal one, but these are the same Lotus that I have at the lounge in Osaka. So, and they're the same Lotus that we're gonna have over here as soon as they come in. So I think it's you guys actually scheduled this hookah in Japan or hookah around the world thing probably at a prime time for those people that are curious about lounges. I'm piecing this lounge together brick by brick, so it's definitely uh, people, if people have questions about what are you putting in your lounge, or what's the variety like, or what do you use. Right now, I'm in that whole process, doing everything I can. So if anybody ever has any questions, feel free to find me on Facebook or whatever, DM me, and I can tell you the steps I have to go through. Granted, they're probably a lot different than what you guys are going to have to go through in the United States and elsewhere around the world, but I can definitely point you in the right direction. And the Hookah University page is a great place as well. So if you're not a part of Hookah University, which I don't see why you wouldn't be, if you're watching this, you probably are, but if you're not, go follow those guys. Join the group. Great.
So
I'm
out
just fucking
here,
with my drums.
yeah, I can tell.
There we go. Much better.
So, question for you: like, out here in the states, we have some amazing vendors. Where do you guys get your shit at? Like, where do I find shit in Japan? Like, because it sounds like there's a lot of lounges, but not the lounges don't really offer a retail experience. Is there retail shops? Do I order online?
It's kind of a two-part thing. So there are retail shops, but these retail shops are full of Chinese knockoffs. So I personally don't go to them for anything other than tobacco. But there are all the other lounges around us that do go to local retail shops. And local retail shops are kind of few and far between. You might find one. I mean, there's one right down the street from me here in Okinawa, but you might find one in all of Osaka. You might find one or two in all of Tokyo. So online is definitely the way to go for the most part in terms of hardware, pipes, bowls, HMVs, etc. But for me personally, I like to go, and I mean, you guys will see me ask questions on Hookah University all the time. Where can I get this? Where can I get this? A lot of the time, I'm asking on behalf of the lounge, not for my own personal use, because I know where I can get one or two things for myself. But I like to go directly to the manufacturer more often than not. That way, I can ensure that I'm not going to get, some cruddy product. I know I'm going to get the quality and et cetera, right?
Yep.
So I order a lot from the manufacturers, whether that's Alpha themselves in Russia or Hookah John. We stock titanium coals over here, so
Nice,
just
nice.
it is a little bit more expensive, but at the end of the day, my goal when you walk into my lounge or one of the lounges I'm a part of, I do not ever want a brand new smoker to come in and have a bad experience that turns them away from hookah for good. And I'm not trash talking any of the other local lounges, but I know a lot of lounges can't say the same thing around here. They'll be like, oh, we know what we're doing. If you don't like it, you don't like it. No, I will tailor make a hookah to you to make sure that you enjoy your session and hopefully you come back in the future. And I know a lot of people out here in Japan are, they want that, they want the money and they
And
serve up a
bad
bad bowl and then out the door, and it ruins hookah for that person. They don't want to try it again. You will not believe how many times I've had people come in and say, they'll come up to the bar, they'll order a drink. I'd be like, would you guys like a hookah? And they're like, no, sorry, I smoked hookah over here at so-and-so, and I didn't enjoy it. Like, well, you know what? I will give you half price if you try my hookah.
And it pretty much comes down to. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
do you find that it's the same here, Mario? Like I'm like starting to agree with a lot of the statements that he's making here, and I can tell you that I've been to. Okay, so a little bit about my background. I used to travel everywhere for work. I've been to all 50 states at least twice. Okay,
I'm gonna throw some more coals on. I'm still listening.
So when I find what he's saying very true, because more often than not, you go to a hookah lounge and it's like you have a bad bowl and it's like I'm not coming back. I'm gonna go find me a different hookah lounge, and uh, I find that a lot of people and even some friends are like, yeah, I don't like hookah. I'm like, why? Well, I went to this lounge that one time, and they served me these things that tasted like sulfur, and I'm like, okay, well, you've had a crappy hookah. Um, do you find that the same, Mario? Do you find that the same with people who don't understand what hookah is?
I would agree. So most people will just think about like coming from like an enthusiast standpoint, like what we are. Um, coals, tobacco, everything like that, it kind of like dictates your session. Like if you have shitty coals, it's gonna fucking kill your session right then and there. As soon as you start tasting the coals, it's game over for me. Um, going back to like what you're saying as far as like the like what the lounges are doing and how you offer that customer 50% off.
Yeah.
When it comes down to a business standpoint, a lot of them are looking for just like quantity over quality. Like they just want to turn people, they want to make the money and everything like that. But from, like I said, from an enthusiast standpoint, we're more about quality over quantity. I mean, I would rather sit down and smoke for 3 hours having a bowl that's absolutely ripping, that great flavor. The hookah is like I'm not seeing any kind of rust. I'm not seeing like the base. It's a fucking like that looks like Arizona iced tea. I'm not like that. Like I mean, I've been to hookah lounges where I sat down and there's already a hookah there, and the water's a fucking like it's brown. Like
What the
that
fuck?
to me, to me that's turning me away. Hey, when did you clean this hookah? Is it rusting? Like why is the water brown? The person that had the bowl before, am I going to taste whatever they were smoking?
I'll
Um,
I'll I'll get right back up and walk out. I'll walk out
it,
if they deliver a dirty hookah. I will walk out. I won't even ask.
yeah. And when I ran a lounge out here in Las Vegas from pretty much 2008 to pretty much 2011 when I went back to Pennsylvania for a little bit. Every single time, whenever we would open, we'd always clean the hookahs. We'd clean them the night before, and then we'd also clean them before we actually opened, just to make sure if there was anything that was sitting in the hookah, it's gone. It's completely clean. The water is crystal clear. And presentation to a lot of people is like, hey, this is a really nice hookah. It's clean. It looks nice and everything, and that could actually determine if someone's going to be coming back or if they're not going to come back. Now, they look at the hookah, everything is clean. You put the bowl on there, flavor's great, smoke output's great, and everything. Now they're like, hey, you know what? I've never had an experience like this before. This is what I like, and these guys know what they're doing. That's what I like as far as like comparing it to like turning people left and right, as far as like getting people in the door and getting them out the door.
Is there an enthusiast? When I say enthusiast, Japanese market, like that smoke the Japanese way, that are like really into that and craft their style.
100%. And I might smoke hookah a different way. I think I definitely smoke more of the American / Russian way. I like my clouds. I smoke high heat. I like my clouds to be ripping. I love a good flavor, right? But I won't trash talk the Japanese technique, because I go to I won't say all of them, some of these Japanese lounges, and granted, my smoke output isn't great, but the flavor is there.
I'm,
I can go and I know I'm gonna get an hour and a half to 2 hours out of this bowl, and I'm gonna enjoy myself. There are definitely the enthusiast market that know what they're doing, that does use good quality products, whether it's the coals, bowls, HMDs, the pipes themselves. But I think it goes twofold. There's the people that do it, and then so and so is like, oh, I had this wonderful hookah at this lounge. I can make my own lounge and do this. And then they don't know all the odds and ends. They don't know the details. They don't know that you need a good quality charcoal.
Now, for
You
me,
know,
I'm curious. My curiosity is piqued because I'd love to see the Japanese technique and watch a Japanese hookah master put this together in a way that speaks to them. And that's kind of what this whole hookah around the world is. And I know that I kind of like waited to do this introduction, but it's interesting to see that you're in a completely different culture, and just because we think something is right here, or we like it this way here, and this is the correct way. It just goes to show that there's like all kinds of different cultural um, uh, exchanges when it comes to a traditional, and I'm going to put traditional in quotes, because traditional to people could be something completely different.
Yeah,
Japanese
and
style, I mean,
I'll go off of kind of what you were saying, talking about the dirty water, or when you go in there into a lounge and somebody just genuinely has no idea what they're doing, right?
hmm
Yeah, my initial reaction is, if this is the experience I have, I'm better off going home and smoking myself, right? And I almost did that the very first time I ever tried the Japanese style hookah. I saw the guy in the back packing the bowl, and in my head, I'm thinking, this guy isn't doing it right. Like, what are you doing? And I almost walked out the door, but my Japanese friends that I was with was like, give it a chance. It's different. We think you'll enjoy it. And sure enough, it was a great session. Granted, I didn't have enough smoke to blow rings with, but it was a great session. The flavor was there. Um, and then that Japanese hospitality that comes with everything is just amazing. They sat a giant slice of cheesecake in front of us, complimentary, and a free tea, just so you sit down and enjoy your session. You know, amazing time. And that was kind of a culture shock to me. It was like, I mean, there's been a lot of culture shock here in Japan, as an American looking inward, but for the hookah enthusiast in me, it was definitely something I was like, man, I don't know about this. And then when I tried it, I was like, wow, okay.
okay.
I'll tell you what, next time I go to one of these lounges, I will film and I will put the video on Hookah University so you guys can see.
I would love that because it piques my curiosity, and this is a window into like my brain over the last 2.5, maybe 3 years. And the window into my brain has been, I'm getting to experience all these cool experiences, from having Stanislav and Oleg over to the house last year or the last HEW, to getting to talk to a lot of them on a normal basis, to interacting with people in VK, to then making friends around the world that will hop into hangs and be like, hey, we do it like this over here, you should try it, or hey, look, this is how we do it over here, or hey, this is something completely different and completely out of the wall. You should really try and get your hands on it, because you just have to try it. And I've seen that true with like WTO, which is a cigar tobacco in the past. I've tried Zagul in the past. I've tried Tombak. It's just an interesting experience to me. So, Austin, is there anything else you think you can add to our little trip over into Japan tonight?
Um, Let me just talk about the products. I know
Okay.
we briefly talked about them a little bit, but uh, I've tried to make it my mission, since I've been here, to try to. I've been in talks with Azure, Eternal Smoke, all kinds of different, whether they're tobacco manufacturers or pipe manufacturers or whatever, trying to get these products. They're here, don't get me wrong, but trying to get them to expand a little bit. And the reason for that is, like I was saying, there's a lot of the Japanese population that they just don't know what they don't know. You don't know that you're smoking on a crappy pipe until you smoke on a pipe that's great, right? So we will definitely see a lot of knockoffs, a lot of whether they're alpha knockoffs, KM knockoffs, whatever the pipe may be. If you type in the pipe name, I guarantee you can find it on AliExpress for a fraction of the price. But it's not the same, and we know that as enthusiasts. But the Japanese people, and I wouldn't even just say the Japanese people, a lot of people even in America, you don't know that it's not the quality that should be expected from that pipe. But because it is a knockoff, it's not great. And I plan on, in the near future, we were talking about having vendors and whatnot out here. I do plan on opening up a website and having products from around the world be available in Japan and a lot of these other Southeast Asian countries. Because I've been to Korea and I've smoked hookah, and I think the Korean market is very similar to the market here in Japan. So I definitely want to bring good quality to the world over here, or to this side of the world. Whereas we were talking about a little bit of quality goes a long way. Who cares about quantity? Who cares if you have the cheapest hookah on the block? Your hookah's $5, good for you. But if it's not quality, I might as well go spend those $5 on a cheeseburger,
Yeah. Real quick, Sanjay, I appreciate you going through and joining Hookah University. I just approved you for the group. So thank you for watching as well, and thank you for joining Hookah University. I know, Austin, that's your friend and everything.
Yeah.
And I greatly appreciate you, just letting people know about it, just letting people know about the group, what we stand for. And there's a fuck ton of information on Hookah University, whether you're new to hookah or whether you've been smoking like me for well over fucking well over 15 years, or 13 years, 13 years as of right now. I'm gonna be 14 years whenever that comes up.
Your smoke anniversary.
Yeah, pretty much. But whether you go to Hookah University, it's like, hey, I have a quick question, like what Austin was talking about before. He just searched or typed in, hey, I got questions about this product, or hey, I got questions about this. Yes, there are a few knuckleheads in the group that will give you some fucking responses and everything like that, but majority of them are always willing to help new people find a good way to smoke, whether they're talking about flavors, whether they're talking about what bowl to use. I have 20 some odd bowls. Jeremy, I know you have way more than I do. Wayne has way more. Paul has more than I do. That's when it comes to tobacco as well. It's just we've all started somewhere in Hookah University, whether like I said, you're a beginning smoker or an experienced smoker. We're there to help. That's what Hookah University is there for. We're not gonna unless you show hey, I just got a brand new Amira, I love this, and start just other pipes. Then we're gonna have a little bit of an issue, like what we did from
on that topic. I will say, you guys probably see me in the group quite a bit, commenting on certain people's things, and I don't mean to come off as a knucklehead, but there's just one thing that really,
you're fine. I'm talking about other people.
Yeah, there is one thing that just genuinely irks me is, you were talking about Derek is in the chat right now, right?
Yeah.
Now, I haven't necessarily seen anybody rip off his work because, that dude is a goddamn artist, first off. Second, what I mean is I just genuinely hate, I despise when these companies like Keto-san or whatever just blatantly knock off people's hard. They work hard to provide good quality items to the market, right? And then people just straight up knock it off, and people are like, you don't got to say that, not everything that comes out of China is bad. And I say, not once did I say everything that comes out of China is bad. I'm saying there is somebody that probably spent countless hours, years, whatever it is, to design something. And then because you can get it for a few bucks cheaper, you want to go buy a knockoff version of it. And that just, it irks me so bad. And
I'm not okay.
I try not to be, I try not to be a dickhead on the group, but there's just sometimes where I'm like, come on, guys, and it's not always new people that are asking about it. Yeah.
When they blatantly say, I'm not gonna say the name because we already know. You already mentioned it, Austin. But I've actually been banned from their fucking their Instagram profile just because. Yeah, I'm sure we all are at one point in time. Just because, I've placed comments that you're blatantly say, hey, we're copying this product. As soon as you start putting copies out there, like it's not the same thing. You're using clay that probably won't even retain heat. Like that's a huge thing. Like these bowl manufacturers that spend countless hours developing, looking into like how can we make the best bowl? How can we make the flavor last without completely burning tobacco? Like there's a lot of information. There's a lot of like science behind it. That like what clay do I use? How do I shape the bowl? Like what goes in the time that they put into it for someone to copy that and knock it off. I don't fucking like that at all. I don't buy counterfeit. I don't fucking support anyone who has counterfeit products. It's just one of those things to where like that's just me. I'd rather support the person, the ingenuity behind it, to where that they decided to come up with it.
Yeah, and there will be some people that argue, oh, it might be a knockoff, but it works just as well as the other one. And to me, I say that may be the case, but at the end of the day, it's a ripoff of somebody else's hard work, and that is the part that gets to me. It's not the part. You might have a bowl, a Helix bowl, that isn't a real Helix, but it works wonders. You got great sessions, but at the end of the day, it is not. At the end of the day, it's a ripoff of somebody's hard work. So
MIT.
That thread was interesting. So there was a thread about that when I first became a moderator of the group, and that thread was there, and there was like 100 and some odd comments, and it was just like a fucking nightmare. Like, yeah, it was bad. But I just want to say something as well, real quick. Very close friend of mine is actually watching the stream as well, and she said that she actually likes smoking tea with hookah. So Jeremy's waving.
Smoking tea, like tea leaves we're talking about?
No, like just having like tea with hookah.
Oh, having a tea with hookah.
Having a tea with hookah. So I know like a lot of like for me personally, like I've done that before to where like we brought up before, like the cafe lounges and stuff like that. There's actually a place out here called Madhouse Cafe, and they have hookah and they have coffee, they have tea, they have everything like that. But going back to what you were saying before, you have to actually smoke that outside because it's not an establishment to where you can smoke inside. So in Vegas, if you want a tea and it's 116 degrees outside, I'm not sitting outside smoking a hookah in 116 degree weather having a hookah. Or I would fucking rather just like sit inside and be like, you know what? I have hookah at home. I can smoke that at home. But it comes down to the experience.
And for me, like when I first started, like,
yeah, sorry, go for it. My bad.
For me, when I first started smoking, it was like double apple, mint rose tea, or Turkish coffee. Those were your three choices. That's what we got. Okay, it's almost synonymous with hookah, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Mario was like this because he was like, "Quit talking over each other, motherfuckers."
For me, the experience goes well over what is offered, but it actually branches off into the knowledge aspect and to the hospitality aspect as well.
Mm-hmm.
If I have somebody serving me hookah that's actually knowledgeable about it, that just increases my overall enjoyment for what I'm doing,
But if he's an asshole, while he's knowledgeable,
if he's an asshole, claims that fucker's the best hookah or the best tobacco in the world, yada yada yada. No, we don't have trifecta. Why would you want trifecta when we have all fucker? Like things like that. It's like, come on, man. Like, I'll smoke some all-fucker. I'm not opposed to all-fucker, but you don't gotta be.
I'm not either. There's nothing wrong with, dude. There's nothing wrong with going back. So we have a lot of brands that are coming out. Like Eternal Smoke came out last year and everything, or 2 years ago, whenever they came out for Hookah Expo 3. I wasn't able to get my hands on it beforehand, but at the expo, absolutely fucking fantastic. Loved it. Same thing with Azor. Like I had Azor a few years back when they first came out. Love it. Trifecta, I've always smoked Trifecta. I've always had like Tangier. I mean, we're talking about like brands that have been around for 10, 15 years plus. There's nothing wrong with going back to your roots of having AF double apple on a traditional pipe. Like a lot of us now have more modernized pipes. Like I'm smoking out of a May Micro. That's from Russia. My Alpha, same thing. And I have a MIG. I have my DSH and stuff like that as well. But going through and just being like, you know what? I want to smoke like how I began in the beginning. Give me a KM. Give me some AF double apple in an eggy bowl. Or it doesn't even have to be double apple if you're not a big like black licorice fan. My all-time favorite was orange mint and what was it? It was orange mint and fuck. What the fuck was it? Oh my god! Oh my god! I can't remember the second flavor. It's no longer so they don't have it anymore. But pretty much it was like I love orange mint. I can actually just probably smoke that straight. But like I'm talking about going back to like when I first started. Or now trying like all the different brands, it's just like I've lost touch with like starting from the beginning. Like not many people can say like, hey, you know what, I was around before, or like I'm pretty sure a lot of people can say like, hey, I've been around before Tangiers, or before Trifecta, or before Azure and Eternal Smoke as well. Like I was saying before, we all started at the beginning. We all started somewhere, and we built our expertise. We built our tolerance. We built everything to where we're just starting to come into new brands, new pipes, to where we're pretty much almost like starting over at the beginning, just because of different ways to pack a bowl. There's different ways that the hookah is going to hit. It might have some sort of a restriction. It might be a wide open pipe. Like that's the thing that I love about this hobby, to where everything's always like it's nothing really is staying the same. There's always some sort of change that's good, like the HMVs.
I have all of these pipes, but I also have this pipe. This pipe has traveled over 6,000 miles with me. It's been through 12 different moves. Okay?
Oh,
and I still have it. It's my dedicated double apple pipe. So, I mean, I think that at any given point in time, like...
Is that a mega head?
Double wheat. Double wheat Kamandra.
Yeah, I gotta turn off my exploit real quick.
You know, there's something me and Paul were talking about. My very first hookah experience ever was actually rather harsh for me. My very first hookah experience, I smoked out of what was in Iraq when I was deployed to Iraq, was in Baghdad. I had a guy make a pipe for me out of melted aluminum cans. And then right after that, we had a hot chai tea, burnt the shit out of my mouth. I can still feel the burn to this day. And we smoked just straight tobacco, no flavoring at all. And at the time, obviously, you know, it probably wasn't the greatest, obviously not the greatest hookah I ever smoked, but it was all about the experience for me. And the fact that an hour ago, I watched this dude melt aluminum cans down and make this hookah for me. And we just smoked it. And you know what's crazy? Me and Paul were talking about this, and me and Paul got our first hookah from the same exact guy, the same exact place, years apart.
Not in the United States.
Not in the United States.
Somewhere in the middle of the desert.
Straight tobacco, not all these new flavors and everything. And, you know, if I could, I would 100% go back and do that again. But, you know, something like that is a little far-fetched nowadays. But it was definitely an experience. And I picked up hookah ever since. And, you know, I got back from deployment and got to the United States, and I find out that there's flavored tobacco, and boom, my world just goes crazy. And I still have the pipe till this day. I don't use it, but it's sitting on my fireplace.
I'd love to see a picture of it someday.
Most certainly.
I'm never smoking out of this one. This right here is, like Jeremy, when I went to Chicago during COVID in November, Jeremy gave me this pipe, and I'm never smoking out of it. Like, this is one that will be with me till the day I die, pretty much.
He'll be buried with it.
Huh?
He'll get his ashes put in the base.
You got to smoke out of it.
Sure, what? I'm not smoking out of it.
You got to smoke out of it.
I'm not. You can keep saying that. I'm fucking not.
All right, guys. Well, that's been a presentation of hookah around the world. We digressed from our subject. We still had fun. Who cares? But, you know, we're looking forward to more experiences. I'm looking forward to that special little video from Austin showing us that Japanese technique. Catch that live or not live on Facebook in Hookah University group, I'm sure. I can re-upload to our YouTube or our Twitch if it doesn't look like we're banned on Twitch anymore, which is good. Looks like I fixed that issue. We're going to be bringing another episode of Hookah Around the World to you next Saturday. We got Jacob Kopasek lined up as well as Mateo Iliev from Hookah Fans Bulgaria. And it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. It's going to be a good time. We're just going to sit here. We're going to have another chat conversation with our friends. Have a nice, relaxed environment. And I hope to see you around for the next one. And hopefully our next guest won't get stuck in traffic. Right, Austin?
Yeah, hope so.
Jeremy, are we doing Beer Garden Friday?
I mean, if you want to do Beer Garden Friday, we can do Beer Garden Friday.
I'd like to join in on Beer Garden, in all honesty. I'd like to join in on that.
Austin, I'll see you Friday on Beer Garden.
I'll be there. We got some Japanese exclusive beers that I'd probably like to show off too. So
I'm not drinking.
Yeah, you are. It's a Beer Garden.
After the last one, I think that's a good call.
Blacked out for fucking 8 hours. I have no clue what the fuck happened.
Well, looks like this next Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Mario, be there. Be square.
I'll be there. 7 p.m. on the West Coast, 10 p.m. on the East Coast.
Austin,
I'll let you guys
your
know
time schedule is not my problem.
I'll be there. I doubt we'll have any Japanese viewers, but I'll definitely show you guys some Japanese beers, 100%. Yeah.
So what time is that for you? Like if we're doing it at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So right now it's 7 p.m. What time is it for you?
I'm about 7 p.m. It is 11:57 a.m.
Cool. Day drinking. Love it on a Friday.
On a Friday.
I mean, I day drink on Fridays anyway.
Nothing wrong with that.
Alrighty, guys. I'm out of here. See you guys next time.
Yep. Later, y'all.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Don't forget Hookah University and National Hookah Community Association as well. $10 a month if you're an enthusiast. Like I said, that's like this. I went to Dutch Roast, $9. And we're good.
All right,
I'll go out there before we left.
Bye, Mario.
See you guys.